Hey everybody, and welcome to my top 10 most anticipated board games for 2025. Now, of course, there is always new information coming out about the upcoming games, so this is a bit of a snapshot in time, but there are 10 games here that I'm really excited for and cannot wait to try this year. Now, before I get started on the 10 games and some honourable mentions, I want to give a shout out to the show's sponsor, KIENDA.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer, and if you use the link in the show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. Additionally, if you are a fan of quick and simple abstract strategy games, be sure to check out my new game Thalamus, which will be releasing in 2025. So hopefully that could be an addition to your most anticipated list. But let's get started on the top 10. At number 10, I actually have a party game that really did capture my interest. This is called $20 for That. So this is a 3 to 7 player game that takes 25 minutes to play, being published by Blue Orange. So it does sound very silly in its concept, but I can see where the interesting things can come into play here. So the concept of the game is that there are going to be kind of two describing words, and then there's going to be an object. So it could be, for example, like maybe a rusty, smelly bicycle. And then everybody is trying to write down what they think that particular item is worth, and then whoever I believe gets the kind of median answer or kind of the average answer will get rewarded with victory points. So again, very silly concept. I'm sure some of the items will work or make more sense than others, but it just sounds like a different take on these styles of games, and I do like that idea of trying to tally up what exactly you think the market value would be. So that is $20 for that at number 10. At number 9, I have Vegas Strip. This is a 2 to 5 player game from All Play, only looking at around 40 minutes to play this one. So this has quite a few things that I tend to enjoy in board gaming. For example, blind bidding. In this one, you are blind bidding on these casinos, and I believe some of these casinos are going to be corrupt and some of them are going to be obviously legitimate. And the way that each of those different casinos score are different. So for example, I think the corrupt ones only give points to the highest offer, but the others will give points to everyone except the highest offer. And I believe there is going to be some degree of deduction injected into the game so you can get more information. But I like the idea of maybe misleading people if you know something that they don't, so that they waste their money. It kind of rings a bell of something like maybe The Bonk or games like that. You know, I tend to really like games like that. So this one could be a new take on that genre. And yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun for up to 5 players. So that is Vegas Strip at number 9. At number 8, I have Ras. So this one I can imagine is going to be featured on quite a few people's most anticipated games lists because it seems to have this gear mechanism that is reminiscent of a game called Zolkin, which is one of my favourite Euro games of all time. This one, 1 to 6 players, only around an hour to play, and it is being published by Arcane Wonders. So all of those things sound fantastic. It has a degree of dice drafting where I believe the dice number, the dice colour, and also the location of that die is going to be relevant. Again, I love dice drafting games when there are multiple kind of pulling factors. It looks very visually appealing, nice and bright and colourful, and I tend to like these puzzly style Euros that are dice driven. So again, on paper, this is looking like it's ticking a lot of boxes for what I look for in my board games. So hopefully it is as good as it sounds. So that is Ras at number 8. At number 7, I have Levant Rouge. So this is a game I don't know too much about. 2 to 4 players, 90 minutes, designed by Dustin DePenning and Jason Hagter, who's actually played a part in the Unmatched series, which I know is very highly revered. So this is described as a dice rolling and negotiation push your luck style game. So 3 keywords there that I tend to really enjoy. And the general concept and the theme of the game is something that made me drew my attention, made me attracted to this game, and because the idea is that you are trying to somewhat work together to burgle a mansion, and with a degree of cooperation and negotiation, but of course it's going to be a one winner kind of scenario. So I'm kind of filling in the gaps with my mind and thinking this could be maybe an amplified version of a game like Diamant or Ink and Gold, with a lot more going on. So yeah, just a general concept. I like it. I like dice-driven games. I love push your luck games. My only slight concern is that this one is leaning towards that 90-minute mark, and normally super luck-driven games don't fit too well with a game that takes that long, but I'm willing to be proved wrong because this just sounds cool. So that is Levant Rouge at number 7. At number 6, I have Night Soil. So this is, I believe, more of a Euro-style game, 2 to 5 players by John Moffat and Grail Games. The main, again, feature here that drew my attention was the theme, because this is set in, I think it's Victorian London, it might even be Tudor London, where you are trying to profit from kind of cleaning the streets, because this is before the the sewage system came into place. So a bit of a dirty theme, but definitely a unique theme and something different. The art style looks fantastic. I love this kind of pencil drawing style art, and it sounds like it has an economic edge as you are trying to be the best businessman, I suppose, in order to profit from this rather unsavory task. So it's got some pick up and deliver advertised, also some deck and pool building. So hopefully it's not a explicitly deck building style game, because that's not normally something I go for. But if it's a card driven Euro where you are improving your cards as you go rather than a pure deck builder, that's going to appeal to me. This one, again, I don't know much about the gameplay or the mechanisms involved, but as it stands, it just sounds really intriguing. So that is Night Soil at number 6. At number 5, I have Knights of the Round Table. So 2 to 4 players, 90 minutes by Johnny Pack and Crafty Games. So if you watch my content regularly or even see my icon, you might know that I'm quite a big fan of the medieval genre. I love the kind of Arthurian legends, probably my favourite theme in board gaming, full stop. So to have a game built all around that with some very nice production, some nice artwork involved, again, I'm hoping the game lives up to my expectations. So I believe this one is more of a Euro game, as Johnny Pack tends to dip his toes into that style of game a bit more. And the main mechanisms described are I cut, you choose, variable player powers, a bit of worker placement. So that could leave a lot of scope of a lot of different things, but the I cut, you choose mechanism is another thing I tend to enjoy. And I believe this one is also very modular, where you are taking different things, or each game can be like a different facet of the Arthurian legend. So maybe one game will be about finding the Holy Grail, one will be about building Camelot, and so on. So there's so much you can do with that theme and setting, and I just hope the actual mechanisms can live up to what I'm building it up in my head as. So that is Knights of the Round Table at number 5. At number 4, I have Habemus Papam. So this is a 3 to 6 player negotiation game that takes 45 minutes to play, published by Salt and Pepper Games. So this is actually based on a conclave, which is a theme that I think is so fascinating, and I'm surprised this hasn't been explored, at least in depth, before. I've always been fascinated in this kind of aspect of a bunch of cardinals being locked in a room and having to make a decision. Lots of backstabbing and treachery and deception going on within those 4 walls. I love the kind of potential and what could happen within that setting. So another thing that I don't really know much about mechanically, but based on a fresh take, a fresh setting, hopefully some cool artwork to go with it. This one, again, I think the sky is the limit to how good this could be. So that is Habemus Papam at number 4. At number 3, I have Iliad. So this is a new 2-player only game by the great Dr. Rainer Knizia and Bitewing Games, only looking at around 30 minutes to play this one. So this one looks more of an abstract game based on a grid system where you are trying to place tiles and get majorities and rows and columns. I believe that the tiles will have different strengths and maybe abilities, and your opponent has a mirrored collection to that. So it seems very balanced, but you might not have access to all your tiles at any time. I love Rainer Knizia games. This one looks super cool. I'm more into abstract games than I ever have been. So this one, I'm always looking for great 2-player games. 2024 was a great year for 2-player games for me. So I'm hoping that trend continues into 2025. And out of the 2 of this series, because there's there's Iliad, which is the new release, and there's also another one called iCore, which is coming out as well, which I think that one's a re-implementation. I think Iliad slightly gets the edge in terms of my interest, and it just looks super cool. So yeah, hopefully the gameplay is good. So that is Iliad at number 3. At number 2, I have KIENDA, so it wouldn't be a chairman of the board list without some Stefan Feld, and this, of course, is the latest game from the Stefan Feld City collection by KIENDA, and unlike a lot of the other games in the collection, this one is a brand new design built from the ground up. Most of the other ones being, reimaginations, reworkings. This one at 90 minutes, 2 to 4 players. And it is another dice-driven game, and it is more combat-orientated actually. So normally Feld games are, of course, a bit more Care Bear friendly, a bit more point salad style games. This one, it seems a bit more confrontational, but I don't believe you are directly competing with the other players. You are more fighting these kind of monsters on this board. And it's all about trying to build up this kind of engine or your skills in terms of your combat prowess. The only thing I really know about this game mechanically is that it has this kind of dice system where you are drafting actions based on this grid. And I believe the first time you go there is going to cost as much as the lower value dice on that row or column, but then a subsequent turn is going to be the higher value die there. So that sounds quite cool, the kind of sense of urgency, trying to get the actions you want first so that you get more bang for your buck. But the rest of it, the jury is still out. It sounds like a new take on a Euro from Feld. Normally they're more Care Bear style games. This one sounds a bit more, in your face, a bit more, again, slaying monsters and stuff, which is not normally something he goes for. So it could be a crash and burn. It could be, a great take on a new genre for Feld. So that is KIENDA at number 2. And finally, at number 1, I have Citizens of the Spark. So this is a 1 to 5 player card game that takes around 45 minutes to play, designed by Phil Dubarry and published by Thunderworks Games. So I'm really into my card games, and this one sounds right up my alley as you are building up this tableau or engine of these characters. Now, from my understanding, the more duplicate characters you collect, the more powerful that ability would be. And I believe you're just using these characters to get points in a kind of an arbitrary, abstract way. But I like that way that you can kind of diversify or really tunnel vision on a particular character and charge up that ability before you use it. Because again, from my understanding, once you use a power, those characters or that stack of characters will go away and you'll have to recharge it again from scratch. So I like that idea of building up the incentive and knowing when to strike at the right time. Do you have that versatility of going weaker actions, or do you just have the perfect power at the right time? I believe there's lots of variability here, tons of these animal cards that look super cool, by the way, to play with. So hopefully that's going to have a lot of life in this game. And again, I love my card games. I played some great ones recently. This one sounds like it's going to align with games like that. So let's hope it's as good as it sounds on paper and as good as it looks visually. So that is Citizens of the Spark at number 1. So there we have it. That concludes the top 10. There were some honourable mentions that I wanted to talk about. I already did mention games like iCore. Ape Town is another one from Rainer Knizia that I'm interested in. Kind of a medium-length area control game. It sounds like it could be pretty nasty, so hopefully it is. Valencia, which is the reprinting of Strasbourg by Stefan Feld, so I didn't really want to put any reprints on the list. Rival Cities, which is going to be a new 2-player only rondel game from the great Andreas Stedding, of course, from Hansa Teutonica fame. We've got Panda Spin, we've got Verso, lots of different games coming out, 13 Leaves and so on. So let's hope that 2025 is going to be as good as 2024 was. But hopefully there's something on this list that's caught your attention and maybe you can add it to your watch list. But if you have enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel and check out my other content too. But for everybody else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye-bye.